You matched with someone great and it was all going well, and then one day you pulled back. You started over-analysing every message, stopped replying as fast, and eventually it fizzled. Not because they lost interest or you lost interest, but you made sure it didn't progress. Most people we speak to aren't unattractive or boring, but they have this story running in their heads which controls their dating life. And that story is, I'm not enough. Based on past experiences, that may feel true, but that's what makes it problematic. Prior hurts and disappointments have dressed themselves up as the truth and embedded in your nervous system. In this video, we'll explore the story and the feeling of not being good enough, where it comes from, how it shows up in life and dating, and what you can do to change it. Welcome to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I am the founder here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. We found that out from working with over 15,000 of the top leaders globally. And so we help you to build that unshakable confidence and become the most unstoppable version of you. If you want to work with us in any way, all of that information is in the description box below. A lot of videos on this topic will tell you to level up in different ways to build your confidence and start feeling good enough. All that does is change the surface. It doesn't change the inner feeling as to why you don't feel good enough. So in this video, we're going to be talking about that deeper level and how you can stay the same and do a 180 in your dating life. Now, most people don't know that they're running this story of not feeling good enough, but they do feel the symptoms of it and they see how it shows up in their dating life. And this feeling didn't necessarily start in dating. It could have come from childhood and having emotionally unavailable parents. It could come from a feeling of competition and status and measuring yourself against other people growing up, whether that was at school, in sports, in academic achievement, or how value is defined in society, particularly the roles and the gender stereotypes assigned to men and women. You start assessing your worth and whether you're good enough based on a perceived rank or status or achievement in these various areas. And social media has made this even worse, and dating apps. You start to judge yourself based on instant interactions, likes, comments, swipes, and all of that can feel like approval or rejection. That feeling or that story of not being good enough starts to embed in our subconscious and embed in our nervous system so that we don't get our hopes up or the sting of rejection isn't as sharp. And that can show up in various ways, such as anxiety, over pursuing or chasing, whether that's people or friends or opportunities. It can be performing, so showing up as a version of yourself that you think is more likable than the actual you. It can be interpreting neutral signals as a negative sign and as rejection or being hypersensitive. Or it could be withdrawing entirely, so not applying for that job, not approaching or rejecting someone or something before you've even given them a chance. These behaviours may feel logical. Oh, I don't have all the requirements for that job, that person isn't interested in me, they're not responding to me quick enough, so I'll just give up. But a lot of it is a defence mechanism, and we've done several videos recently on the balance between protecting yourself and a defense mechanism and whether rejection as a concept even exists. And what's interesting is that these behaviours that are a manifestation of not feeling good enough push the other person away. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Feeling not good enough manifests these weird and wonky behaviours, and for the other person, they interpret that as unconfident or unattractive, and you don't get the results that you want. This cycle persists until you change the story and you change the feeling of being good enough deep down. You may know consciously that you are good enough. You may tell yourself that, but you may still manifest these insecure behaviours because you don't feel it. And the reason that you don't feel it is because it's stuck in your subconscious and your nervous system, because you have experience and evidence that you aren't good enough. And once something is embedded within us, our brain acts as a confirmation machine. It is not a neutral observer. Become hyper aware of shifts in tone, language, energy, to confirm the story that it already thinks and to act as a protection mechanism. And this occurred in evolution because we needed to respond to threats as humans, particularly when our health was in danger or our lives were in danger, quicker than we can consciously think about it. So if you touch a hot stove, you will retract your hand instantly. Or if you see a lion running towards you, you will just run away. And these are the instincts that are built in. What happens when we have a very difficult experience or a repeated experience? We will then adopt that as a belief that sits in our nervous system, that sits in our subconscious mind, that if we see certain indicators, this will be the result and this is how we need to protect ourselves from it. So that's why this feeling and this story of not being good enough, you might know consciously you're good enough. You might know what these unhealthy behaviours are, but you continue to end up in those situations because this program is running in the background. It can also tell you that other people who have what they want or the outcome or the relationship are fundamentally different to you. They're lucky, they're better looking, they're more successful, or they have another trait that's attractive. Your brain and body don't want you to risk yourself believing that you can change your life because that feels unsafe. It feels as if they're opening themselves up to that threat that could hurt them. But none of that is the truth. The truth is you are good enough exactly as you are right now, and you deserve to feel that way. How do we shift from a story or a feeling of being not good enough into believing that you are good enough? And not just at the surface level, but deep down. First, let's dismantle this not good enough belief so that you can challenge it. And then we will talk about some tools and some techniques to shift the story. So dismantling this not good enough belief, often it comes from us measuring ourselves against others around us, or this objective truth of what is good enough or isn't. We need to challenge that and remember that attraction is subjective, and what some people are looking for in dating is different to what others are looking for. Therefore, rejection is not personal to you and whether you're good enough. It's more about timing, circumstances, the emotional availability of the other person, and perhaps the level of connection. It's about remembering that every human has the same inherent value. So you are not worth less or more than anybody else who you interact with in life. We each have different amazing traits and unique quirks that we bring to the table. Don't assess yourself against what you believe is the objective standard, but what makes you you, and what is the best version of yourself. That means not determining your worth and whether you're good enough based on others' reaction, but on what you believe about yourself. Whether you're a good person, a kind person, your intentions are good, that you're worthy of the type of dating life and relationship and career that you want, and knowing that you are good enough for those things, regardless of how others treat you or whether you get the opportunity straight away. It's standing firm in what you know about yourself. And it sounds straightforward. In practice, this can be a difficult shift because we've grown up our whole lives being assessed by academics, sports, dating, we are trained to look for the responses to our actions and whether they validate whether what we did was good enough. However, the paradox is with confidence that the less you care about the approval of others, the more they are drawn to you and the more magnetic you are. Not only does it make you more attractive, but it means that dating is more fun, work is more fun, you can enjoy yourself and less anxious in day-to-day life because you're less worried about what others think of you and whether they approve of you. You just decide if you approve of yourself, which means that if you go on a date and it doesn't work out, you won't see that as a rejection. If you get rejected for a job, it might sting, but you won't take it personally. And you can approach someone without it needing to go well or them reciprocating your advances because it doesn't say anything about who you are as a person. It means you can move through the world in a completely different way, in a much lighter way, and you're more attractive. So now we know how to unpick the story of not being good enough and how important it is to shift from externally to internally validated. What are the other tools and techniques you can put in place to start feeling good enough? Well, the first is noticing the story in real time. So notice when you start to overthink, you get anxious, you want to pull back from a situation, or you're worried or fearful of rejection. Interrupt that pattern of thinking and just say, oh, there's that story again. And use this video to unpick it and challenge it and say, nope, that's not the truth. The truth is I am good enough and I deserve this job or this treatment or to have a dating life that I enjoy. The second is to stop feeding this belief and this story. If you do encounter a challenge, if you do feel rejected, don't allow yourself to use that as evidence that you're not good enough. Just tell yourself it's a bump along the journey and it's part of getting what you want. And practice always seeing the best or feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And there are lots of people online now seeking rejection and trying to get 100 rejections or 1,000 rejections to take that fear of rejection out of day-to-day life as a way you can do that. And the third is to build that internal validation by building your beliefs. So notice where doubts and fears come up, interrupt that story, as we said, and replace it with a positive belief. I am good enough, I am worthy, I am valuable, and that's because I have these amazing traits for me as a person, things that cannot be changed, so your kindness and your generosity, and how you make others feel. Use all of those positive things to remind yourself and get yourself feeling that you are good enough. Because we want to change this story and this feeling and the evidence from your past that you've got and replace it with new evidence. So that evidence from you telling yourself new things, putting yourself out there, focusing more on that process than the result that you get back and how you feel about yourself. And number 4, look after yourself. You can start to feel good within yourself when you treat yourself like you're good enough. So invest in an exercise routine, invest in healthy habits, look after your mental health, look after the space that you're in. Treat yourself how you would want to be treated. Show yourself that you're good enough. These steps may feel uncomfortable at first. Challenging a story that has been running in your brain for a long period of time can be difficult, and it may feel like it doesn't pay off straight away. It will likely require persistence before you start seeing a change in how you feel and the outcomes that materialize. But it gets easier every time you do it, every time you take a risk and you feel proud of yourself. It builds momentum. Eventually, it will get you everything that you want. The most attractive thing that you can do and what makes you magnetic is by being the best version of yourself and knowing that you are good enough just as you are right now. If you want some additional help with this topic, we have a digital workbook on the foundational beliefs that get in the way in dating and how to change them, and another workbook on how to shift your identity into your dream version of yourself. Both of those are available on our website. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.